kind of short. It's not going to be too long of a video, but first and foremost, congratulations to the Oklahoma City Thunder for winning the NBA Finals, winning the NBA championship, man. You guys had one hell of a journey. The last year, if I'm correct, you guys were the number one seed, but you lost to the Dallas Mavericks. Now, this year, you got the number one seed, best overall record in the NBA, I believe. You finished with 80 something plus wins for the year if you include the regular season plus postseason. The postseason, you swept the Memphis Grizzlies. You took it to 7 against the Denver Nuggets. I had Denver beating y'all in 7. You guys ended up winning in 7. And then the Final Four, you ended up playing Minnesota, which I thought was going to be a pretty. I had y'all winning that in 6, but y'all ended up winning in 5. In the NBA Finals, you guys pulled it together after a crushing blow in the first game to Tyrese Halliburton, who's been a phenomenal uh, game facilitating specialist when it comes to buzzer beater shots or hitting the dagger, putting you guys, down 0-1 at home, losing home court advantage to you guys, all of a sudden regaining it and tying the series, winning a pivotal game 4. It was a must win for you guys. You were down 2-1, couldn't go down 3-1 to Indy, and ended up tying the series and just taking control over the wheel despite having a terrible game 6. And OKC Thunder ended up pulling off game 7. Pacers were just hitting those shots in the first quarter. Tyrese Halliburton had 4 threes before he went down with that Achilles tear. And just another unfortunate injury that goes on especially when it's a non-contact injury. You see players go down, it's terrible. That happened to Jason Tatum. Earlier in the round, Kyrie Irving tore his ACL. It's not Achilles tear, but still tore his ACL in December. So he'll be back this December of this year. And it's unfortunate. Achilles tear is probably the worst injury to have. Shit, I've torn my Achilles in 6th grade, so I know what it's like. It takes about a year to 2 to be able to fully rehabilitate to that injury, and that's a shitty injury to have. It's almost career ending. You can talk to Chauncey Billups about that. Kobe Bryant. Well, Kobe Bryant was able to come back from his. Kevin Durant came back from his. It's something that sucks, man. When you tear your Achilles, it's not a fun injury to have. It's probably the worst injury to have in sports. Besides just completely breaking your bones, but But when you tear that Achilles, man, that holds up your whole weight, man, of your body, and it's hard to read. It's like a rubber band that pops. Did you guys not see the replay of that when Tyrese Halliburton bent the leg over and you could see that rubber band in his leg just bam, just extended. I knew right then and there it was over. He was crying on the ground, beating his hand on the turf. And from personal experience, I know exactly how that feeling is. It's a shitty fucking feeling to have when you can't put any weight on your leg. Takes 2 weeks to you're bedridden. You have to wear the boot for 4 months, rehabilitate that tendon. Talked to Deshaun Watson about that. He retore it again. Sucks to hear that. I don't like the piece of shit, but I don't wish injury upon my worst enemies, even Deshaun Watson. But that's a shitty injury to have. It's almost, you're never going to come back from that. Shitty injury to have, and it sucks. What's even gonna be worse about it was Tatum's not gonna play next year, or Tyrese Halliburton's not gonna be able to play next year. And if you already see Kyrie Irving with his ACL tear, he won't be back till December, January, if that. And so, with that being said, you look at all these injuries going on. Curry was out with a calf injury, and of course they don't want to risk him tearing his Achilles either. So it was probably in Warriors' best interest to sit that guy out, not let him play. But if this is going to be something that's going to be occurring in the NBA, because the game is going so fast now, and players are running up and down the court at full speed versus back then in the 90s, 80s basketball, early 2000s, it was more of a half-court game. Players barely jogged up to the court, and then they would kind of set up from there. Versus NBA, it seems like it's a fast sprint, transitional, full-court game, all 48 minutes or whatever. The quickest to shoot threes wins. Quickest to run up the court. You don't even take 6 seconds off the shot clock, and you're already shooting the ball from 25 feet, it looks like. I'm wondering if, because the NBA is so fast-paced now, players are getting paid more. Of course, that means the numbers are stat pattern more, so that means, we get larger contracts. So There obviously, the game's a lot different now. No defense, the 3-point contest, whatever. But because the game's so fast paced, I'm wondering if now the injuries are going to start occurring with those Achilles tears and ACLs more often, rather than playing an ultra defense, making the game expand more, playing more of a half court style offense instead of transitional running up and down the court. And so I'm wondering if that's going to, if it's going to cause more injuries because of the fact that the game has changed now since I remember growing up. I wonder if it's a possibility that the NBA should consider shortening the season now. I mean, think about it. 82 games doesn't sound like a lot. And, I know a lot of the old heads like Barkley and them like to take shots and say, you need to play all 82 games. And it's like, yeah, but if it was the 90s or 2000s, I would agree. 80s basketball, I agree. But in this style of game where they're running up and down the court, it seems like 5 seconds average time of possession. To me, I would say that maybe they need a short amount of games if they're not going to resort back to that old style of basketball. If it's going to be fast-paced up and down the court, I think 82 games is going to be detrimental for more Achilles tears. You're going to have more ACL tears. And so you're going to see a lot of your best players not being able to perform at a full capacity in the playoffs. So I'm wondering, what I propose, and I think, the title says it all, is I think what the NBA should do, because, again, it's going to come down to money. And the owners, owners are greedy. I get it. They're oligarchs. And, they're like, oh, well, we don't want any less games. That's less money in my fucking pocket. And then the players want less games. But then when they realize they're not going to get as much money as their contract for an 82-game schedule, they're going to, oh, well, I don't know if I really want to cut back my amount of games because that's less money for me. But I'll sit out a couple games and do load management. So you're going to start seeing more of these watered-down games where there's load management concerns. So I'm curious. Maybe we should lower the amount of games as a sort of a study, as you call it. Do we need 82 games for a playoff seed-in, 41 and 41, 51 and 31? Do we really need those records? No. You can still get the same seed-in with the same damn teams and let's say a 70-game schedule, then it would be at 82. It'd be the same thing. It would, minus the seed-in would be a little bit different. Instead of being the 4 seed, they'd be the 5. I mean, it'd be a little different. But if you want a good quality playoffs, best of 7-game series for 4 rounds, and you're playing an 82-game season, I wonder if that's going to impact the quality of the playoffs we're watching. And although the playoffs have been really great, I'm just wondering if you're not going to see the stars at their best if they're injured. So what I propose is the NBA lowers the regular season down from 82 games to 76. It's sort of a sample size. 6 games less. You think of all the load management that's going on. I think that would really play into it well. You lower it 76 games. You got 38 home, 38 road. That's more than enough games that you can still get your top 10 making the playoffs or whatever, and you can still get good quality basketball. In fact, if I had it my way, I'd lower it down to 66 games. But, people like basketball, you're not going to get basketball every day. Would you be willing to sacrifice basketball in October and push it to maybe mid-November for a lesser season? And I don't see a problem with it. I think, who was it that called for the NBA to start on Christmas Day? Trying to think of that player. Was an old player. I think it was Gary Payton, if I'm correct. He said the NBA should start the regular season on Christmas Day, and that way that whole month and a half you have less, no basketball going on by then. And so that gives players a chance to kind of rest up, and then the season starts in December, and you still got your playoffs in April. So you probably would have to reduce the season maybe down to 66 games, 68, kind of like what they did in 2011, 1999 lockout season. You would get less games, but less watered-down games, better quality basketball, and players can probably play a full season of 66 games versus having to require them to play 82. To me, it just doesn't seem feasible. Yeah, I was rooting for OKC too. Hey, ML, what's going on? Azul, what's going on? To all the trolls, what's good? Well, first of all, I get it. It's been 82 games for a long time. I think it's time we need to sort of look into lowering the games. I mean, I love basketball, but I'm not addicted to it like that. When it comes October and November, I watch the beginning of basketball for a couple days. Opening season starts October 17th. They'll always put some really good crisp matchups on the first couple of days. Like first 2 days, they always put good matchups. Then it kind of just gets a little old, and teams are acclimating themselves in the season. And then it doesn't pick up again until about Christmas time when you got the Christmas Day games. And that's really when basketball sort of begins to sort of take off after that. So I'm because you're competing with the NFL, and the NFL right now is just going to be booming during that time. People are watching football in September, October, November, December, and even January for the playoffs. So I'm thinking instead of the NBA trying to compete with the NFL, why not just go ahead and start that regular season off Christmas Day, or maybe December 20th or 21st, and sort of have a like maybe some classic matchups like that October 17th 18th matchups. You'll always put like the defending champions playing like a big rival, and you could start that in December 21st, and then have your big Christmas Day games and have a full slate of games on Christmas Day, and everybody could watch Christmas Day games, and that'll sort of beef up the NBA in terms of trying to promote their brand, and players are fully healthy and stuff. What sucks about basketball is it's full year round. These guys are constantly playing like summer camp leagues, all these other like sort of tournament games that are outside of the NBA all summer, and then they got to jump right back into 82 games again. I just don't think at this stage of the game is it really going to be up to par to require these guys to play all year round basketball. I mean, to me, it doesn't make any sense. I think it's 82 to 66 games is a fair slate of games, and start the season off. I say December, maybe a week before Christmas, and then Christmas Day, you put all the games on Christmas Day, a full 14 games, or how many teams are there? 30, so it'd be 15 games on Christmas Day, and go out with a bang, like start the season off with a bang on Christmas Day. And I think that would be really cool. The Rockets trade was a great one. I think it was okay. Yes, we get Kevin Durant, but the rumor has that James Harden wants to come back to Houston. I know he's been gone since 2021, so he's been gone for 4 years now. Part of me doesn't want him back, but a part of me says, you know what? Maybe it would kind of help out if Harden was to play with Durant. Maybe it'll kind of work out here. I mean, I know in Brooklyn it didn't necessarily work out, but maybe Durant and Harden would maybe be a duel here. Maybe if Westbrook's contract is up, maybe you can get Westbrook here. Maybe it could be a OKC reunion here in Houston. I would kind of guess bite on it, considering the fact that we've already lost D. Brooks, we've already lost Jalen Green. It seems like to me like the Rockets are trying to build a super team here. I'm assuming that's what they're trying to sell, a big three. And you got Seguin, who's being trained by Hakeem Olajuwon, and you got Durant at the PF, power forward, before. And to me, it would seem like maybe you could fill that void up for that two guard. You put James Harden at the two guard, Fred VanVleet at the one, and then at the three, you could probably bring in Jabari Smith Jr., put him at the three, and then or Amin Thompson. You have Amin Thompson, keep Jabari Jr. on the bench, and then you could pick up Westbrook to run a second unit. I wouldn't mind entertaining Westbrook to come back if that is the case, if that's where they're kind of going with this. But again, this is just rumors. I don't know if Harden necessarily wants to leave the Clippers. I know he enjoys playing with Kawhi Leonard. But, being 4 years away from here, if we already got Durant, so it's already kind of like, okay, our foot's in the sand now. So it's sort of like, is there something brewing where you're trying to make some offseason moves? Because I don't like the starting five we have. I like, Durant's cool. Don't get me wrong, Durant. Seguin, you got... Amin Thompson, you got Reed Shepherd, you got Fred VanVleet, and then, I mean, that's okay. I just think the two guard position is going to be really going to be the big question. If you bring in Harden to fill up that two guard, I'd be okay with that starting five again, and just kind of see where you roll the dice, see where it goes, see if maybe you can get something from there. I think Durant and Harden would make a great duel. It's just the biggest question is Durant going to be able to stay healthy for a long season? And if he wants to sit out on games that are back-to-back, I wouldn't have a problem with that. Obviously, at the age of 38, and he's got miles on him, and he's going in his 18th year, I really would entertain him possibly taking some games off. That's where the what do they call it? The load management. I don't mind being the case. Him sitting out on a back-to-back night, or certain games where it's against, a team I think we're probably favorable to win against or compete against, have him sit out for those games. I could see him possibly taking off maybe 15 games, which is why I'm in favor of cutting the regular season. This is why I'm in favor of doing this, because of the fact that this is going on in the NBA and players don't want to get hurt. I get that. But I think it's, time the NBA needs to start looking at that 82-game season and start reevaluating for the future brand or the purpose of guy. I don't think anybody cares about going 82-0. I mean, does that matter anymore? 73-9 was Golden State's record. Does anybody really give a shit to break that record? No, they don't care. They just want to be healthy for the playoffs. I mean, I would be okay with my team winning 60 games and being fully healthy in the playoffs. That's what it was this year for the Rockets when they won 57. I'm like, shit, we got the second seed. We're good. But I wouldn't want the Rockets winning 70 games and our center's out and our point guard's out and our small forward's out and there's a bunch of bench players in for the playoffs. Like, I don't want that shit. I would rather take the 15 less wins and maybe a seed or two less and then be, playoff bound, ready bound, championship bound, fully healthy players ready to hoop. OKC might join the Rockets and Mavs. Oh, okay. Division, the NBA expansion. They're saying, they're possibly saying that the rumor is we're going to get two new franchises next year. We're going to get Supersonics, when we're going to get Las Vegas. They're going to be Western Conference, obviously. So that means it's going to be an uneven balance. They're going to have to send one Western Conference team to the East. I'm hearing through a birdie, Minnesota and Memphis are possible cities that will be maybe shifting to the Eastern Conference. So it's a possibility. But still, I would love to see Vegas with a team. I think that's going to be a big market for future sports. I mean, they're already going to get the Athletics. The Athletics, I think, are going to go there in 2028, 2029. So I think they're playing in Sacramento right now. And once that stadium's built for the Athletics, they're going to be the Vegas Athletics, just like the Vegas Raiders. And then they got, the NBA for their WNBA team, and then now they're going to get a basketball team, so that helps out a lot there. Vegas is going to be on the map for, they're going to be the next big city, like the Big Apple, New York or Boston, or Philly, Chicago, Miami. You're going to throw now Vegas into that name with a lot of these big market cities now. So that's a large tourist attraction, a lot of money over there, gambling, that sort of thing. So it's perfect to have teams set up over there. That's a great landing spot. In fact, I don't know why these leagues didn't do this 20 years ago, But hey, I guess it's never too late, right? But anyways, I saw Tyrese Halliburton's injury. It looked nasty. You could see, just imagine a rubber band that's at the bottom of your foot all the way to right where your calf is at. And just imagine it's just like you yank it and it just goes like that. Oh, that is a painful experience. So when it rips, that tendon rips, it's behind your foot. Like, imagine your foot's like this and that tendon right there, and it rips. They got to staple this right back together to let it heal, and then you got to rehab it. Stretch that rubber band out again. It sucks, man. That's a shitty injury to have. I wouldn't wish it upon my worst enemies. That's a shitty injury to have. I wouldn't wish it upon anybody. Terrible injury. The Las Vegas Sharks or the Dolphins in the future. You think Miami Dolphins are moving to Vegas? I don't think that's going to happen. Miami's a big market city. They're known for what? Their nightlife, the beaches, the high cost of living, the women. They're known for all that. All the billionaires or all these podcasters or what in Brickell. They're in Miami. They're doing their thing down there. A bunch of rich people down there, man. They got money. Even these foreigners are coming here. They're going to what? Miami. A lot of these rich guys, setting up shop. So I think Miami's always going to keep their sports teams, which makes sense. Did y'all hear Tampa Bay is moving? I've been hearing about the Tampa Bay Rays possibly relocating. I don't think they should relocate out of Florida, but I do think maybe Tampa Bay, there's just no money there for baseball because they're more of a football town, than anything. But if the Rays move, I mean, to me personally, I think that they would want to go somewhere where it's a highly densely populated area in Florida. I propose Orlando. I think, where Disney's at, that would probably be a good setup for the Rays to set up maybe in Disneyland, to be there. To the NFL, which would be never. Yeah, Miami will always be Miami. Oh, what's up, man? Sciatic nerve is hurting today. Yes, it does. Yeah, tearing your Achilles injury is the worst, Marvin said. Yeah, it is. Shit fucking sucks. Like I said, imagine if this is your foot, right? And this is your tendon. It's right here in the back. That connects to your calf. And then it just rips in half. Then they got to go and go in your leg and staple it. They clamp the rubber band back together. And now you're talking about the rehab process. God hope you don't tear it again during that. And that's a shitty fucking injury to have. Excuse my French, but it's I wouldn't wish it upon anybody. I've had torn Achilles in my, was it left or I think it was my right leg, my right foot, and it's about a year and a half to 2, and it's never the same. Sometimes even to this day, but if I'm stepping down the stairwell, moving around, I feel a tweak, like right in the calf. So I'll stop for a second. And I'll wait. I'm like, wait a minute, I heard a tweak. And so I'll stop. And then I'll start planting my feet down slowly down the stairs. Because where I work at, you're going up and down stairs every hour, every 30 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever your tank's at. So you're constantly going up the stairs. And man, you could pop it going up the stairs. It sucks. But these non-contact injuries are the worst. So you can, if you don't watch your step going down the stairs, you can tweak your ankle. And, so you always have to constantly watch how you're planting your feet and assessing the area around you. And it's shitty to have. It's shitty to do that, but I've seen people tear their Achilles at work. I've seen people separate their kneecaps. It's a shit. It sucks, man. Having injuries sucks. Oh, you're referring to the Warriors? Yeah, you did. You did beat us in the first round. Oh, which I'm going to talk about that one, but not the series, but just after the fact. I heard LeBron is getting out of LA. I heard the Lakers have informed him that we're moving on from you, which kind of makes sense. But the asking price, 7 first-round draft picks. And to make matters worse, there's only really 2 teams that have that many picks, Miami and Golden State. Golden State can offer 7 first-round draft picks and some role players. They got the best package set up for LeBron. And this has been rumored. LeBron wants to play with Curry. I've been hearing about this. If he goes to Golden State, I'm not going to say it's a guarantee. Now, if you would have told me 5-6 years ago, oh, yeah, they'll win 3 or 4 in a row. At this stage of the game, LeBron will be 41 in December. Still got some juice in the tank. Obviously, he could play 2 or 3 years. He's in good health, great health, better health than I'll ever be. And, I think he would be great playing with Curry and Dre and Butler. Do I think they can maybe hop 1 ring out of that? Maybe. I know LeBron wants to chase Jordan with the 6, but I think he'll probably get 5. I think he's got 1 more ring in him. I just think he has to be in the right setup. If that is the case, Golden State wants to offer 7 first-round draft picks. I could see the Lakers biting on that, and LeBron maybe taking that. Okay, well, they already got 3 stars, that sort of 2 stars and a rebounder. Okay, I could see maybe I should, waive my no trade clause and go there, and I could see him doing that. Absolutely. I didn't hurt Jimmy. Calling it a sciatic nerve. Sciatic nerve sucks. I hate injuries like that too. You know what a sciatic nerve is right here on the side, so you have to get on your back, bend the knee up, and then bend it towards the left side while holding your hands like this on the ground and trying to maintain a straight frame while your knee is literally being bent at a 360-degree angle to stretch that goddamn nerve out. And that shit sucks. I know because I've done it. Yep. I've had tons of injuries. I've torn my Achilles. I've had a broken beer bottle stuck in my kneecap and had to get it surgically, had the pieces to be taken out. I had a broken wrist. I've had a fractured thumb. I've had fractured rib cage last year in training when a 350-pound guy sat on my rib cage and I felt 3 cracks in my ribs. Fractured ribs, couldn't breathe for 4 days. Well, in shortness of breath. Couldn't laugh. Had to let that heal naturally, which sucks. Let's see what other injuries I've had. Trying to think what else have I had. Never had my nose broken, thank God. I've had a jammed thumb in basketball a couple times. I've tweaked my ankle a couple times when I was at LA Fitness. But yeah, the Achilles tear is the worst one, and the broken wrist. I broke 3 bones in my right wrist. So yeah, I've had a list of injuries. I tripped over a board and I tried to stop my fall. Um, and when I fell to the ground, I put my hand out, and when I felt it, I rolled on it, and then I felt pop pop, and I didn't feel the pain at first. It was numb, but after I went to the doctors and everything, and they did the scan, I said I couldn't move the right wrist, and they were like, "Yeah, you got three fractured bones in there. One broke." I said, "Oh fuck!" So they had to put you on that anesthetic or whatever they call it, and it numbs the pain for a little bit, and they wrap the cast around it. But they said about 8 hours you're gonna feel it, and that throbbing is just some of the most painful shit I've ever had. And you're just sitting there, and it's throbbing and throbbing and throbbing. You just feel it, and it hurts like hell. So you're gonna have to take a bunch of ibuprofens for that. I recommend about 4 or 5 every 8 hours. About 3 to 4 ibuprofens. Maybe take a Tylenol 4. Man, you'll be good to go. And take it to get over that shit. The Achilles tear is another one that takes about 1.5 to 2. That's a shitty injury to have. That dude is so self-centered. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, agree. Let's say the Warriors. But if the Warriors get LeBron, it'll probably be over. Well, they'll probably get one ring out of the last hoorah. Old man LeBron's 41, but I'll give him. Well, he'll be 41 in December, but I give him props at that age, man, for him to still be in shape. Shit, there's guys half his fucking age that can't even fucking move. So I'll give him props for that. Do I think he's a little arrogant? Yeah, but he stays in good shape. I'll give him that. Shit, I'm jealous of him. I wish I had his money. Well, yeah, like I said, I think with that Achilles, did y'all see that Achilles tear? Type in Tyrese Halliburton on YouTube and look at it as a non-contact injury. The way he bent the leg forward, you can see it pop at Achilles. You can see it stretching in his leg, and you just see it vibration, and you knew right there he tore it. That shit sucks. What's worse, MCL or ACL injury? ACL, because MCL is the smaller muscle underneath the ACL. The ACL takes about a year, and then they gotta replace that tendon that's in there. Not tendon, what is it? Tissue, because to stop the knees from clanking together, which is very painful, by the way. They probably, you can do a cadaver where they'll take part of your hamstring out and put it in there, or they'll do the one where they take the meat off the dead body, and they'll put it in that leg. But most people do the hamstring technique. They'll say, okay, let's take part of my hamstring out, put it in there, Or some people get a knee replacement, but that's when you get older in life for those knee or hip replacements. There's a guy I just work with right now. He tore his ACL when he was 31, and he's now in his 50s, like late 50s. And he was telling me, I knew I had to get a knee replacement sooner or later. Yep, got to get it done. So they had to get the whole kneecap, take it out, and put a whole like plastic one in there or something like that. And so when he kind of walks, it's kind of like it's kind of like it's kind of like he kind of like doesn't have a crutch or nothing like that, but you could tell like he has no filling or no nerve filling in there. So it's kind of like you feel like you're kind of walking on air a little bit in that area. So you're kind of like, okay, did I plant my weight down right? And you have to kind of look, and you're like, oh shit, there's my leg still. So you have to kind of get used to that shit, man, with no nerves there, man. Tell me once when Barry Sanders did a touchdown dance, he just ran to the back of the sideline. Oh, I like Barry Sanders. He was a fucking beast, man. Barry Sanders, an ultimate fucking legend. Ultimate legend. Now that baseball is, the only thing going on right now in terms of any sort of entertainment, I said, I think I'm going to pass on baseball till about August. And that preseason football kicks off. Then college football kicks off. We play Ohio State the first game of the season. So I'm looking forward to that in September. I think it's August 30th or something. We play Ohio State in their house. And I'm hoping the Longhorns go in there and smash them, based on last year's debacle when we lost in the Final Four. But it's going to be a new season for college football. And then football starts the week after that or whatever, NFL. So I'm a little excited for that. I think Cowboys play Eagles week 1. And, of course, the Eagles are going to fucking wipe the floor with the Cowboys on that one. I think they're going to win that one. Then I think KC plays at the Chargers in Brazil. But for the first time ever, I think South America gets a football game. I got the Chiefs to. Oh, I got the actual Chargers to pull off the upset. Then it'll go down to the end. Barry Sanders did a touchdown since OKC. What about volleyball? I don't know, man. I'm not a volleyball fan. Why would I want the season to be shorter? Because players are getting hurt. The game's a lot faster. And because of that, you're going to see more ACL, more hamstring issues, more Achilles tears. And I just think the season is going to be watered down by playoff time. Half these guys are all banged up anyway. I think the NBA needs to reevaluate the 82-game season. To me, I propose 76 games, and I think that 76 games would be it's still a lot of games, but it's 6 less, so you still kind of get some basketball, or you get a lot of basketball. But hey, look, 6 games off, that does help a little bit. They can do kind of a case study on it and say, okay, are these players still getting hurt at the same rate at an 82-game season? And I'm sure they can have like their analytics on that and sort of determine the ACL tear, the MCL tear, the Achilles tear, any sort of basketball injuries that are related. Hey, let's go ahead and compare it to 82 games to 76. Was there a difference? Do we need to lower these games down maybe a little bit more and see where you can go from there? I wouldn't have a problem with the NBA going to a 66-game season. You still get a decent amount of games and still get the same style of games. Detroit should have beaten the Knicks. Oh, absolutely. Detroit should have beaten them. By who's the healthiest? Absolutely. I like volleyball, but I wouldn't play it. Title back in 79 is the Sonics. Yeah, but it doesn't really technically count for the Thunder. They get hurt so much in baseball. Yeah, and baseball also needs to reevaluate. They need to reevaluate the 162-game season. I always said, I like baseball, but I'm a casual fan. But baseball sucks until August. And so you just get, how many infinite, it just seems like baseball just goes on forever. You just never get enough. It's like every day. It's like 15 fucking games every day. And then every month it's like 30 games. You barely got like one day off a month, and it's like you're playing the same goddamn team like 5 times a week. It's like, how many times do we have to play each other? It's like, for example, I think all of our division opponents, we play them like 30 times each. It's like, do we have to play that many games? It's like, no, like I don't have to play you 30 times a year. It's like they need to, it's just too many games, man. 162 is way too much. I know the old baseball heads are going to be arguing about this. No, it needs to stay where it's at. I'm like, the people's attention spans are short. I'm not sitting there watching a fucking baseball game for 5 fucking hours of 1-0 in a hitless fucking, in a game that's only like 3 hits happen. I'm not doing that every fucking day and then have to surrender the parking. Parking's $40 fucking dollars. The game ticket is $5. The beer's $12. The fucking pretzels and hot dogs are $15. And then the jersey's $200. I'm not fucking doing that shit for 162 games a year. Hell no. Hell no. So I'll watch baseball in August. You'll see me in August. I'll flip it and see the 30 games left on the schedule, the pennant chase. All the teams are, I know Washburn Billy, I don't know if you've been watching, but your what's the word I want to use? Your Tigers, I think, are number 1 in the league right now, if I'm correct. Let me look. Let me verify that. But I think the Detroit Tigers are number 1 in baseball right now. Let me see. MLB scores, ESPN. Give me a second. I'll look for baseball right now. See, this is how relevant baseball is right now because I just don't give a shit. Now, July 4th, I'm going to watch the games because there's going to be some really good games that they have scheduled for July 4th. I was looking at, I think Astros play the Dodgers. I play the Dodgers on July 4th. So, they're great rivals. So, we'll look, rain delay. Just imagine if you're a fan of baseball and you go to a fucking game that's a shitty fucking game and you have to sit there and wait for a rain delay. The rain's just going all over you and the players are just sitting there in the dugout and you're just sitting there and the rain's pouring over you and you're trying to drink a beer or eat a hot dog. And they're like, oh, game will resume in 1 hour. And I'm like, oh, great. So now I got to sit here 6, 7 fucking hours to watch this shit? No, thanks. I'm not that desperate to go watch a fucking baseball game. No, thank you. I'll just go home and I'll take my losses and go home. Ask for a to-go box for the hot dog. I'll drink the beer, throw it in the trash can. Give me the hot dog to go. Give me a to-go box. I'm out of here. I'm not sitting here for 7 fucking hours. No, sir. Yep, the Tigers are number 1 in the American League. Number 2 and 3 are tied between the Astros and the Yankees. I don't know how they determine a tiebreaker there, but they both got the same record. Identical records. And for the NL, it's they got the Dodgers number 1. Number 2 is the Phillies. 3 is the Cubs. And, of course, you got your wild card teams. But looks like Detroit has got the best record representing the American League. The Dodgers got the best record representing the ML League. So far through 78 games or 79 games or whatever, they want to phrase it. But yeah, July 4th is on a Friday next week. They Boston at Washington, don't really care. Cincinnati at Philly, no. St. Louis at Chicago, that's an okay rivalry there. Yankees and Mets, that's a good one. Tampa Bay at Minnesota, Pittsburgh at Seattle, no one cares. Texas at San Diego, that's an all right one. Angels, Toronto, nope. Detroit at Cleveland, that'll be a good one. Milwaukee at Miami, no. Baltimore at Atlanta, nope. White Sox at Colorado for the number 1 pick, nope. Astros and Dodgers is a good one. Kansas City and Arizona is okay. San Francisco and Oakland Athletics this year in California, that'll be all right, but I don't think Athletics are going to win this one. They just kind of fell off after that. But there's probably maybe 7 decent matchups, all those ones that I want to see. But other than that, baseball's just kind of boring. I just can't get into it. I have to wait till August, September. I'll watch it after that. World Series 2022 rematch, Phillies and Astros. That's who you got. Tigers are number 1. But you have to get the app to watch it. Yeah. And that's another thing about the NBA app that people are complaining about. I don't know if you guys really been hearing about this, but people are complaining that they've been having a lot of blackout games and that they can't watch their favorite teams play because the app's not covering it. It's like, well, I'm not paying the monthly package. If now you're telling me I can't watch any of the games, or there may be a particular team I'm following and then that game's ruled blackout and I can't watch it and I'm paying the app the monthly fee. Oh, hell no. I'm canceling that motherfucker. So that's just even more sand to throw onto the fire about this. But yeah, NBA basketball, I think that they should really consider lowering the games down. I propose 76 games, do a case study on it, and then you go there. How can you grab the camera for a Lamar Jackson? Lamar Jackson. I like Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson's a beast. Yeah, football season will be starting up. Everybody's going to be tuning on to football. No one's going to be able to compete with football when it starts, especially September, October, November, which is another reason why I think the NBA needs to consider moving the starting date to December 20th and then have a Christmas Day special where all 15 games are hosted that day. All 30 teams compete on Christmas Day. And that way you can sort of rebrand the NBA market and sort of you'll have a national coverage and say, okay, we're going to cover all these games on Christmas Day. Boom, right there. And then that's how the NBA will lift off the regular season with a reduced amount of games, less injuries occurring, and then you could still get the notoriety and stuff from Christmas Day and just really go out with a bang rather than just having a long, drawn-out season for what it seems like an eternity in basketball for 7 goddamn months for a regular season. And then to get to a playoffs where it's watered down, players are injured, you're playing up against backups in a lot of the cases. Curry was out in the second round. You couldn't even watch him, even though he had to basically sit out. But you couldn't even get the best of Golden State in the second round, despite the fact they gave us one hell of a round in the first round and beat us. But now you can't watch Golden State at their best. So it's like, yeah, Minnesota won, and everybody was rooting for them. But at the same time, did it feel right? No, because the best players were not on the court. You want to beat somebody at their best, and you're not getting that when your best stars are not playing. You want good quality basketball. What happened to John Morant? When he got hurt in the third quarter, they were blowing out the Thunder. They blew a 30-point lead, and then they got swept in Game 4. So it's like if Morant would have played, they would have won Game 3, possibly won Game 4. Now you're looking at an extended series out of Thunder Memphis that first round. So now you're talking about players getting hurt and not being able to play. Yeah, good to see you again, bud. I've been busy in the garden, 38 tomato plants my year. Oh, that's what's up. Yeah. What are you guys doing for July 4th? Y'all going to any shows? Fireworks shows? Y'all got anything set up for July 4th, or is it just sitting at the house having a beer and just kind of watching TV? Is that what y'all gonna do? For me, I got 3 fireworks shows to attend. I had a Boom Town that I missed the last 2 years over. I got the July 4th in Plano, and then I got the Six Flags over Texas. Got a in Arlington next to Jerry's World in Dallas. They got a fireworks show there as well. We're gonna see the one for Astroworld. They're gonna have like a little 30-minute fireworks show. I'm telling you guys, nothing beats going to a fireworks show. I'm telling you, I've never been in the fireworks shows, but I've been to a couple. Now I'm kind of curious as to what Houston has to offer. I know our neighborhood actually has a fireworks show out here on the 4th. They do it's like a little mini one. It's not a big one. So, but it's just something just for the show, I guess. They're having one at the at hole 18 over there at the golf course, and so they're going to set up a little event there. It's a little show, but it's not like the big fireworks. It's still a residential neighborhood around, but it's just you still get to see a little of a fireworks show. So, what's going on, man? What? I won't be heading to any school tomorrow. It's the summer. Well, I think the problem with the Rockets is that I think that is that we got Durant, who is injury prone, known for having a bad attitude. Maybe a 1 year, 2 year rental at the age of 38. I'm not expecting Kevin Durant at a 10 out of 10 in his prime. I'm expecting it maybe a 7 at this point. The only thing I would expect the Rockets to do is it's like, okay, what other moves are you going to make? Are you trying to get James Harden back? Is this where this kind of going? You're trying to rehash that James Harden scenario, maybe with Durant. They play well together. I mean, I could possibly see you going that route if you're just saying, hey, look, we got Kevin Durant because we could believe we can win either this year or next year. That's the only way you would convince that this trade was needed to be made. Other than that, I said let's keep the roster we got, stick the course, and let's see how this works next year. I don't know. I guess the organization felt like it's not about making the second seed; it's about winning championships now, and that's really all it ever's been about. But now it's sort of like the rush to winning a championship matters more. So they're like, we got to think now. We can't think ahead. We got to get something out of this deal, without giving up too much, but still getting something in return. I don't know. I don't know exactly what the Rockets' move is going to be if they're going to expect to win with the lineup we got. I don't think that's the case. I think we were probably, if not, maybe regressed a little bit, losing 2 starters for one and a first round 10th pick. It would have been better if you would have just said, let's just go ahead and keep the roster we have and just see where it goes. Maybe Harden will come back to this roster, and then that just adds to it. Yeah, more defense. Yep. Rockets third seed next season. Yeah, Rockets aren't done. Now I know. No, 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 no. We would have to pick up another guy. I would have to say James Harden probably. He's the only player that sounds reasonable that would probably come back. And if so, you got him and KD. I mean, I guess I'd be okay with that. Um, I don't know, man. This is going to be a hard. I would just hate for Durant to go down 15 games in the season and he's out. And now you don't have anybody. You don't got D Brooks or nothing. So that means Tyron Eason will have to come in. Jabari Smith Jr. would have to be in the starting lineup. Reed Shepard would have to get acclimated in the starting lineup. We're only averaging 4 points off the bench. That's going to be hard to sell, man. And then you don't got D Brooks. You don't got Jalen Green, who Jalen Green can still light up the scoreboard during a regular season. And you got D Brooks, who brings that defensive tenacity, has great morale in the team, with the team, hypes the team up, trash talker, and so you kind of lose those elements. I think the Rockets jumped the gun quick on Jalen Green's terrible playoff performance, despite having 38 points in game 2. I know he scored like 8, 9, and 7, but other players stepped up. The Rockets still pushed it to 7. We got really good numbers from Fred VanVleet, who can play off the ball. Now you just, you trade away Jalen Green, who's possibly going to be up and coming star, and then you give up D Brooks, who just adds to that tenacity, that Draymond Green, that Patrick Beverly sort of nuisance guy, where you hate him if you're not on his team, but you love him if he's with your uniform on. And so now we don't have that now, and so this is going to be a case of are the other role players going to be able to step up? At least we re-signed Steven Adams. We got him for 3 years, so that's good. So we were able to re-sign another veteran, sort of like a mentor, but somebody who can still score, grab rebounds, somebody who's a rim protector. So that's good to pick. That have Steven Adams still acclimated. I thought he was going to go off somewhere else and try to win somewhere else, which would make more sense. The best fireworks are in Kentucky. Air Show fireworks in Louisville. Wow. Yeah, like I said, I've never been in the fireworks shows before. One of the benefits of getting older is you start picking up new interests for things, and you start getting rid of some of the interests you thought you were in. And one of the things that I like is fireworks. And a buddy of mine invited me out in 2022, and I went to Addison Kaboomtown. Type it in on YouTube if you guys ever get a chance. Type in Addison, like Addison, like the name Addison. Then put Kaboom, like when you hear fireworks show, Kaboom, in the cartoons, Kaboom, Kaboom. Put in Addison Kaboomtown, and you'll see short clips and video footage of the fireworks show, and it's an amazing show to be a part of. Amazing show to be a part of. It's voted actually, I think, number 2 in Texas for the best fireworks show behind San Antonio's, and now you have Addison Kaboomtown, and so they have some fireworks shows down here, but they're real small fireworks shows. I'd maybe have to do my research a little bit more, but I've really been getting into fireworks shows lately. That's kind of that's really kind of where I've been at in terms of interest. I think that it was called Thunder Over the Water. Is this okay? Well, I have to look it up for Kentucky's. I know, Madison Square Garden's obviously going to have theirs. For New York, I'm sure Philly's probably got something over there. The Jersey area. Probably in Atlantic City, they probably got a nice fireworks show over there. Boston, perhaps. L.A., Miami, Vegas. I'm pretty sure that, some of those cities over there got maybe a sight to see, But over here, just nothing really popping in Houston. But like I said, DFW area, they got a bunch of good fireworks shows. You got Plano, you got Breckenridge Park and Richardson. You got the Six Flags over Texas and Arlington next to Jerry's World. They got a fireworks show there. You got Addison Kaboomtown. So they got some really good fireworks shows there. And if I'm willing to drive 4 hours for a fireworks show, that goes to show you that is really something spectacular to see if you're willing to make that drive and spend 3 nights in a hotel just to see these events. It's a sight to see, man, for fireworks shows. But yeah, man, nothing beats watching a fireworks show. Like if you even go on these short videos and you type in fireworks shows and you just hear the crackling and everything, it kind of makes you feel at ease. It's like it stimulates the mind. It helps your mind just go at ease. You just listen to a fireworks show. Nothing beats it though. And what I like about Addison Kaboomtown in particular is, they like the fireworks on an airport strip. So Addison has its private airport there. And they light the fireworks on the airport at 9:30 to 10. Right? So it's a 30-minute show, but it feels like an eternity when you're watching these fireworks going off. Boom, 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 boom. And they have different viewing places like around the area, right? But the best one, in my opinion, is the hill. There's a giant hill mound that's huge. It's like a giant hill. And you can go on the mound and you can watch the fireworks show from like 100 feet, maybe 150 feet. And you can see the runway. They move all the planes and everything, private charter, planes and all that out the way. And then they light the fireworks there. And you see the show, and it's just like it's the best view in the house. You can get up a lawn chair, have your family, friends, watch those fireworks go off, boom, 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 boom. And then after the fireworks show ends, which is really cool, when you light fireworks at the caliber they do, because they light like the real expensive ones, and they start little fires like brush fires. You'll see the brush fires on the runway, and the fields that are surrounding it, little brush fires start from the sparks that come from the fireworks. So it'll start little mini, what they call brush fires in the field. Nothing like to be, it's not anything like dangerous or anything like that, but it just, the little fireworks light up. And so after the show ends at 10 o'clock, the fire marshals come out with their fire extinguishers. They come out with that little truck that shoots that water out, and they'll put out the brush fires. And that takes about an hour to do. And you can sit there and watch them do that for about an hour. And it's just it's so it still kind of lights up the night sky with those flames. You like it's like extra lighting, almost like Christmas lights. It's a weird way to describe it, but it's like Christmas lights. And those little fires are burning, and they're putting out the fires. It takes about an hour, and it's kind of real cool to watch that. So you kind of get a fireworks show, and you get it after the fireworks show. So you get kind of a 2-for-1 deal there. You get an hour and a half. Maybe I'm over exaggerating. Maybe 30 minutes, 45 minutes to burn that fire out, but you're looking at about an hour and 45-minute little show there between the start of the fireworks show to the ending. And so you get like kind of a 2-for-1 deal. And like when I went in 2022, I recorded it. It's on my YouTube. You can type in Addison Boomtown Stephen Rose, and my video will pop up. And I have like a little fireworks show there that I did for Addison, and then I did the one for Fair Park, which I wasn't a fan of Fair Park because they don't even let you go in the fucking stadium anymore. So you have to walk around the damn outside the stadium in a congested area where it's bodies are against each other, so it's extremely hot, and it's just again it's just a shitty place to be. I mean, they got food vending trucks, but it's hot as hell. It's 100+ degrees outside, and you're congested confined in a small area with thousands and thousands of people. And then you can't even go in the stadium to watch the fireworks show. So you have to kind of angle it to where you got to get around to a certain part of the stadium where there's nothing blocking it or impeding it. And because you want to see the fireworks actually shooting from the ground and in the air, not just in the air. So you want to kind of move around and get the best position. Then you got 8-foot tall people in front of you. So you got to kind of wrestle around that. It just was a hassle for me, and I just didn't like it. And I just said, okay, I'm not going to go to Fair Park anymore. So that's done. So my buddy said, nah, you got to go to Plano, man. Plano's popping over there. They got a good fireworks show there. That's the one you need to go to. And I said, all right, bet. I'm going to go to that one. So on KD, Dylan Brooks, and Jalen Green getting traded. Well, I didn't think, really tell you the truth, I mean, Phoenix won in the long term. Rockets won on the short term. That makes sense. Rockets are trying to push for a championship either this year or next year. Personally, I don't see how KD makes that happen if you're just banking on him. You would have to assume they're going to get someone else. I'm thinking James Harden. I'm thinking, I've been hearing for the last couple of years he's been wanting to come back. And if he's got good rapport with the new coach, because he hasn't been with this coach yet, our new one, that came from Boston. And then not to mention the previous general managers or whatever. He doesn't have to worry about Daryl Morey anymore. So I know they kind of had a fallout, so I'm thinking maybe James Harden would want to come back in this scenario and kind of say, okay, I wouldn't mind, coming back and playing for you guys. I'm wearing his jersey now. I always liked James Harden. That I thought he kind of rubbed us off the wrong way when he left, absolutely. But then again, that's kind of like when things happen like that, he's always kind of been a stand-up kind of guy, and he's always kind of stayed in shape, and his game has never really descended. I thought when he went to the Clippers, his game actually kind of elevated from when he played from the Nets and he played for Philly. I think he's in a much happier, content place now, being as he's been in the league for like 15, 16, 17 years. I think James Harden might close it out with us and may sign a 2-year deal or something, and kind of, give this a kind of experiment a ride. I mean, hell, you already stuck your foot in the sand for Durant. You might as well go all the way and try to bring more if you can. If you're trying to sell that Durant's here to win this year or next year, then you have to sell. If you're going to sell on it, you got to go the whole way now. Now you have to pick up another guy. I think James Harden's that kind of guy. He's already got the playoff experience. He's brought us to Game 7 Western Conference Finals. The guy's like a 16-time All-Star or whatever. Or no, 10-time All-Star. Or 11-time All-Star, somewhere around there. And he still can score. He still can hoop. And I like James Harden, so I wouldn't mind having him back. Yeah, he's a great player. Absolutely. We get shit for leaning on the Humvees in the reservists. They didn't like that at all. Oh, I didn't know that. Like I said, man, I wouldn't be going on vacation to Addison and, for the fireworks show if I didn't enjoy it. It's probably one of the best fireworks shows I've ever attended. Is there better ones around the United States? Probably, But this one in Addison is definitely Addison Boomtown is a badass fireworks show. My buddy went last year and he told me he had a blast. And I missed last year and the year before that. I went 2022 and just had a blast, dude. So I missed the last two, and I'm like, oh, hell no, I'm not missing a third one. I'm going this year for sure. Moving in the chat. Got to check out for my new radios. Okay. That's what's up, man. It was good seeing you too, man. Like I said, I'm not just doing sports talk videos. It's just right now I am because I'm bored. But yeah, the NBA season's been a lot of fun. It's just the injuries suck. People getting hurt. Injuries suck. And I feel bad for Tatum because he's not going to play next year. Kyrie's going to be out till December or January. And then you got, what's his name that's out now? Tyrese Halliburton. He's not even playing next year. He can't. And so you got guys that are literally, this type of injury is literally taking you out for a year and a half. That sucks. Just knowing you get injured, you can't play, that's one thing. Like, okay, cool. I'm out for the playoffs. And then it's one thing. It's like now it affects you into going in next year too, because of the longevity of how long it takes to heal an Achilles tear or an ACL tear or a broken bone or whatever. It just sucks because when you get hurt, it carries on to the following year in certain cases. With Achilles tear, I think Durant was out for a year and a half, if I'm correct. Kobe was out for about a year and a half. Chauncey Billups ended his career tearing his Achilles. Shit sucks, Kevin Durant was able to come back a year and a half from it. It's a, it's a shitty injury to have, man. It's terrible. Like now Tatum won't even be able to play for Boston next year. So what are the Celtics going to do? They still got Brown, they still got White, they still got Horford, they still got, Brown, the players they got. No, I'm not a Thunder fan. You can look at the jersey and tell who I root for. But what I'm saying is that those type of injuries really affect the players and affects the game. And look if Curry would have been forced to play against Minnesota, and what if he tore his Achilles? The crazy thing about Tyrese Halliburton was they told him not to play, from what I was told. Now the little rumor is, and he's like, "No, I'm good. I'll still go out there and play," knowing damn well his legs. He was having a problem with that leg, and if it was during a regular season, they would have sat him out for a week or whatever. But he forced himself to play, knowing he had that leg injury. Now, maybe it's his fault for one, and I need to be there for my teammates. I need to be here at the most important part of the game. I have to win. I understand that. Medical personnel, I don't know if they advised him to sit out because I heard that they did, but then I'm hearing they didn't, so I don't necessarily know. But they should not. Somebody should have told him to sit out. Whoever Curry's medical team was smart to tell him to sit out for that calf injury or the hamstring injury. Just say, fuck it, we'll take the L on the second round loss, but I'd rather have you back for next year, and then we'll try to refortify again with other players. And that's why I said it. The question is going to come now. Is the 82-game season going to affect these players long-term, being that the new game that is played now, running up and down the court at full sprint, it seems like these guys never stop running. Is it going to start? Are you looking at more leg injuries? Just saying. 80-style basketball, 90-style basketball, they barely jogged up the court. They would slow walk it. They set up for that half-court offense, dish it out to the center. The center does a pump fake, and he'll do the hook shot. Irvin Johnson did that hook shot, or Magic Johnson did the hook shot, or whatever. Jordan with the reversal. Or they would shoot the 18-foot jump shot like Karl Malone, Sean Kemp, that kind of players. And they would dish it in. If they couldn't get the three-point shot, they settle for the 12-foot. Or it seems like now the 18-foot jump shot is a terrible shot to take because they teach you analytics now, which I don't like that part of the game where they tell you, well, if you shoot more threes consistently, if you miss more, you still will make more. So that's why you see a lot of guys passing up those layups, and they'll dish it out to a guy who's covered at the three-point line to shoot an uncontested three, which makes no sense to me. The game has definitely changed a lot. The scoring has gone up, but the defense has gone down, and it just seems like to me they call every ticky-tack foul. Oh, and now players can travel and take 4 or 5 steps. Oh, and players are getting injured now more because of the game is so fast-paced. Now it makes the question if the game's going to be fast-paced and this is the direction they're going in, which it seems like they are. Maybe they need to start looking at how to reduce those amount of games so that way these injuries don't pop up in the playoffs or before the playoffs and guys are pulling their Achilles. That shit sucks. Pulling your Achilles. It's a terrible injury to have, and it's a non-contact injury, which is the worst. Imagine just running up the court, you're hauling ass, and pop! Bam! You tear that Achilles. The Achilles is now out. You're out for a year and a half. And, I think the NBA needs to consider, I say 76 games. These greedy owners are all oligarchs, and they're like, no, I want my fucking money. And it's like, but half of the games are watered down, and you have to give away the tickets for free. That's what baseball's going through right now with some of their teams like the Tampa Bay Rays, where they have to give tickets away because no one's going to the games. There's just no market there. So the NBA has to do that with a few franchises. If you know your team's only going to win 20 games anyway, and you know you're kind of out of the NBA playoffs by the 20-game season, you don't know all the teams that are in anyway. And then the rest of them are at the fucking bottom with they'll be like 2-20, and you kind of know they're not going to make it. So they have to give tickets away for free or at reduced prices to beg people to come to the games. And that's how it is in sports. But like for basketball and baseball, for example, baseball is the same way. The Rockies are 20 and fucking 65. So they're giving tickets away for free so you can go watch them lose by 50 runs or maybe 10 runs to 1 or whatever the case is. So they're terrible. And the White Sox are having to do the same. So do you really have to go to all those games to see that shit? No. So now the games become watered down, and it's just there's no importance to have to show up. NFL's a little different. You could be 2-14, but there's only a small amount of games, so it doesn't affect you having to not show up to the last 2 or 3 games. It doesn't affect the NFL pockets. But for baseball and basketball, it does. And the owners are greedy because they want their little even on the games they're losing money on, they still want those games to be played. To me personally, I think you should reduce the amount of games. That way you don't have to worry about players getting hurt. But the question is, are the owners and the players willing to take less money for it? And that's also going to be another question there, a whole another can of worms. Because anytime you talk about affecting people's money, then that's where the sharks, the demons come out of everybody, right? Is when it affects their wallet. That's when the ugliness of people come out, right? You start to see it. Kind of like at your job. You see people's ugliness come out at the workplace. Well, now it's going to, be affecting, these greedy owners. Are you willing to reduce 82 games to 75 so you can have a decent fucking team? And they would rather, have the 82 games and drag that shit out and then have a busted-ass playoffs than just say, you know what, let's just go ahead and reduce the amount of games so our players can stay healthy and we can actually make more money off the back end. If they were smart, then that's what they would do. In baseball, 162 games, absolutely not. No, I'm not going to sit there and watch 162 fucking games. I'm not doing it. Every day I wake up, hey, everybody, it's baseball. Tune in to see the Astros take on the Dodgers for the 15th time out of 30. Tune in to ESPN. No, I'm not doing all that. Well, if you order the app, you can watch all 162 games and all 1,580-something games at your dispense. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing none of that shit. I don't even watch the highlights of baseball. I just look at the damn scoreboard on the ESPN tracker, and that's all I do. And it'll say the score and the inning, and that's all I need to know. And when the game's over, the game's over. I do not care to watch that shit. I mean, if you're betting and gambling on it, okay, maybe, then I can understand you, maybe watching part of the game. I'm not doing it. I'm not wasting my time. Boring-ass baseball. Baseball goes on forever, and it just never fucking ends. It just keeps going and going. You just never get enough. Every day there's 15 games on and there's double headers. It's like there's a double header at 1 o'clock, and then we're gonna play right again the next at 5 o'clock. It's like imagine you being a fan, you're sitting there at 1 o'clock, the game ends at 5, and then it's like, we're just gonna play right again. It's like let's just go ahead and hit the reset button like a mulligan and just reset it again, and we're just gonna play all over again just for you and make you have to sit through another 5 hours of this shit. Fuck that. The first game's 1-0, the next game ends like 2-1, and you have to sit for 12 hours. I'm not doing that. I'm not going to a baseball game. I've wasted my time. The best baseball game I've ever been to, I'll never forget. The Astros were taking on the Philadelphia Phillies, and it was a Saturday game. I'll never forget. I think it was the year that the Phillies won. The Phillies won, I think, the prior year. It was the following season. And Ryan Howard, who's one of the best baseball players at the time, right? Really good. He hit a fucking like 3-run home run in like the 8th inning or something like that, right? He was going up against Roy Oswalt. Roy Oswalt was pitching, and it was like a day game. It was like around the game started like I think around like 4 or 5 o'clock. The sun was just setting, and so it was kind of like cool outside. It was like nice and breezy, and Roy Oswalt was pitching against what's his name was going up against Ryan Howard, and Ryan Howard was sitting at the dugout, and he pointed towards like he pointed towards the back end with their bats, because back then players that were like real cocky and they knew they could hit home runs, they'll point the baseball to taunt they'll point the bat at the stands to taunt the pitcher. So they basically say, I'm about to hit this home run. And so Roy Oswalt threw a pitch. I think it was like the count was like 2-1, and he tried to throw like a fastball at the center, and Ryan Howard, boom, and that bitch went right out of the stadium, man. And I think the Phillies won that game like 9-5 or something, but he hit like a 3-run home run. And that was probably the best baseball game I've ever been to. I've never been to a good baseball game after that. All of them sucked after that. But yeah, Ryan Howard for the Phillies was a monster. And when he hit that home run, it just went flying out of the fucking stadium. I'll never forget that day. Yeah, that was probably one of my best baseball games I've ever been to of all time. It don't get any better than that. I don't know if you guys remember Ryan Howard, but he was phenomenal for the Phillies. And I think he won them a World Series too, if I'm correct. I forgot who they beat that year, but I think they won the prior year. They won the prior year when I went to that game. Oh, and here's another fun fact. When the Giants won the World Series, I think that was in 2011 or 2015. I forgot which year it was that I went to that game. I went to the home opening series. We played the Giants, and they swept us that year. They swept us. They came in Houston, won all 3 games. I went to 2 of them. Brett Myers pitched. Roy Oswalt pitched the other one. We lost both games. And my dad turned to me and he was like, hey, son, I think the Giants got a good lineup. I think they're going to win the World Series. I'm like, nah, I don't think they're going to win the World Series, Dad. They just swept us and we suck. And he was like, nah, I think they're going to win, bro. And they won the World Series that year after they swept us that home opening series. And the Giants went on to win the World Series that year. The San Francisco Giants. They won that year. And I was like, damn. Yeah, I think that was 2014. Or it was the 2014 season. Yeah, they swept us the opening series, and then and I went to 2 of the games. It was a Wednesday game against Brett Myers. He pitched, and we got our asses kicked. And I think I went to the home opening game against when Roy Oswalt pitched. They whooped the floor with us. And my dad told me, I think Giants are going to win the World Series. I'm like, nah, man, you can't base off of this. They swept us. He was like, nah, I think they're going to win the World Series, bro. They just got a really good lineup. I was like, I like their lineup, and they won that year. Giants won the World Series that year. Never forget. Yeah, Ryan Howard was a fucking monster, man. Yeah, the rain delays, games getting postponed. Yeah, if I had tickets to a baseball game and they're like, we're playing a doubleheader, no thanks. I'll give my tickets away. I'll take the loss. I'll take the loss. I ain't going to no damn doubleheader. I ain't doing that shit. Baseball to me is another sport that has too many games, and it just never ends with them. And I think baseball is like basketball. Too many fucking games, too many injuries. They need to reduce to 162 games. I know these greedy owners, the same thing you're hearing with them. Oh, we don't want to lose any money. It's like, motherfucker, you've already lost money with some of these games you're doing with some of these shitty teams you have at the bottom. To me, it would seem like to cut the regular season down so you don't have to recuperate so much losses. Yeah, 162 is way too many, man. It's way too many. It's not a reason. It's just because traditionally it's been around for that long. It was 154. Then it went to 162. It's just you need to just reevaluate. Does baseball need to have that many games? It's like, no. I don't have to have 162 games to know if my team's good or not. I think you could do the same thing with 130 games. You could do 130, which is still a lot. But you could have 130, and I guarantee you'll still get the same results than at 162. You'll still get the same results. Same teams getting in, same results. It'll pan out the same. The seeding may be a little different, but you can still, I can guarantee you, Like, if you look at the records now, Detroit, Yankees, Astros, what would be the difference of them at 130 than at 160? Other than the seed-in, it's still the same. Those are three teams that are going to get in. So then you just have to figure out the rest. And so then, you make that debate. Well, this wild card team, if you would have gave them more games, they may would have came back. And it's like, well, 130 games to me, I think is a good enough amount of games to find out what the seed-ins are. Maybe. I think that did you guys hear about the NFL? They're talking about what was it the NFL they were talking about the other day? Oh, they're talking about winning your division no longer guarantees you a home game in the playoffs. Now, if I'm correct, they're going to do the top 7 and rank them accordingly on record. And that they voted it in the other day and it got approved. So, I think the reason why they did this because the Minnesota Vikings made the number 5 seed but had the second best record in the league. And Detroit had 1 going in. And Minnesota had 5 but had a 14-3 record. And then Vikings had to go on at the road against I think the Rams, if I'm correct. And the Rams had like 3 or 4 wins less than they did. And I can kind of see where the conversation is there. It's like, okay, I get it that the team in my division was better than me, but why am I being punished for that? So if I win 15 games and win 2, but you're telling me I'm opening up on the road on the wild card weekend against a team that won 9 games or 10, that to me does not sound right. I know for if you're a football head, you kind of like that element of winning your division guarantees you a home game, but at what cost? Like, if I win 15 games, why am I being penalized because I'm in a good division versus this guy's in a shitty division and wins a shit bowl division and gets 8 wins or a losing record and is awarded a home game? We've seen this in the past. I don't know if you guys remember the Seattle Seahawks, 7-9, played the New Orleans Saints that were 11-5 that year with Drew Brees. Should the Saints, who are on a terrible road team, have to be taken away to play on the road against a 7-win team and have to play Seattle home? Oh, well, they still should have won that game if they were truly better, but it didn't matter. They weren't at home. To me, home field advantage is the definition of I have a better record than you or I break the tiebreaker over you. I either got more wins than you or I break the tiebreaker over you based on head-to-head or however you determine that. But you're not going to sit here and tell me, well, I won 11-5 games, but I'm playing on the road to start the wild card off against a team that went 7-9, and we're going to their house, have to travel up to them. That doesn't make any sense. And so, to me, I think the NFL is going to get it right with this 1-7, and so Detroit would have had 1, Minnesota would have had 2, and I think that would have been fair. It's not their fault that their division was good and that the other divisions suck. So just saying, okay, well, you win your division, well, that's just good enough to get a playoff game. That's not good enough anymore for a home game. And I actually agree with it. I think that's I think it you get the matchups where they should be at based on seeding properly off wins and losses, not this whole you win 6 games but you won your division, you're going to be a home game this week. No. It should always been the better record gets to play at home. Absolutely, I agree. Do you think that Toronto's going to get a football team? I think Toronto will be another one of those cities where we're talking about, right? Toronto got a basketball team. They don't got a football team. But is the NFL willing to expand past 32? Because after that, it becomes uneven. So if you do 34, then one division will have 5 in each conference while the rest have 4. So any expansion past that would have to be 8 teams because you would have to have 5 in each division. And that would be 20 teams in the AFC, 20 in the NFC. I mean, you would have to do probably 8 to even it out. That's the only way that it would work. It wouldn't work out any other way. So, teams that would, my opinion could have a football team. Toronto, San Antonio, Um, let's see what else. I said Toronto, San Antonio. Well, I mean San Diego, since technically they don't have a football team there, even though they're LA Chargers. Could put a team back in San Diego. It's food for thought. They could work a deal out there. There's three. Let's see where else. I mean, technically, Portland does have a basketball team. You could give them a football team. Why not? Portland. Uh, is there any other state that could have a team? I mean, you could put one in Salt Lake City, Utah. 5. Just trying to think of some off the top of my head. You could give one in Memphis. I know Nashville has one, but you could put one in Memphis, in Tennessee. Tennessee, second. There's another team right there. Let's see what else. I'm trying to think in my mind real quick. Where else could we put a football? I got to think of 2 more cities now. I mean, you got Tampa Bay, you got Miami, you got Jacksonville. You could put one in Orlando. That's 7. I don't know if Kentucky has the pull, but Louisville definitely could be an area where they could. I mean, they got college football down there. You could throw them an NFL team, possibly. Who for thought? I'm just giving suggestions. Suggestions if NFL guys are watching this. Some cities that could, you could definitely do with an extra NFL team. But San Antonio here could embrace a third NFL team. They got a basketball team. They should get, Virginia maybe, Virginia or even, I think Virginia, Richmond, Virginia maybe, the capital. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm just giving I'm throwing the NFL a bag of bones here for cities I think would definitely do well with maybe you could even reunite Oakland with the team. But I don't know. They love the Raiders, so I don't know if they would embrace that new team. Maybe that's just kind of picking food there for the thought. But yeah, I am, like I said, now that NBA season's over, the NBA draft will be coming up. People have asked me my predictions. I'm going to tell you my predictions, what's going to happen. The number 1 pick is going to Cooper Flagg, and Dallas will not give him up. He's going to be the next big and upcoming Magic Johnson or Luka Doncic even. He's going to be a rising star. Why would Dallas give that up for a bag of bones and Giannis Antetokounmpo? That wouldn't make any sense for them to jump that gun. But I think that with the number 2 pick, San Antonio is now going to be the new question. Greg Pop's going to be the general manager now, kind of taking a role back, but being behind the scenes. I think if anybody can lower a star there, it'd be Greg Pop. What is he going to do with that 2nd pick? He's going to give it to the Bucks with first round draft picks and maybe a couple players in that deal and get that Giannis guy. That's what I predict is going to happen. I think by NBA draft, the NBA is going to try to set off an explosion for the draft like they did with the Rockets trading Durant. Miraculously, the trade took place, the same day the NBA Finals, Game 7. They wanted the spark. They wanted people to watch Game 7, so they did the Kevin Durant deal the same day to get people invested in basketball. I think the NBA draft is going to be another thing where they're going to try to capitalize on some big trade, and I'm predicting Giannis Antetokounmpo will be a San Antonio Spur by the NBA draft day. It's going to be breaking news, headline news. Milwaukee will get the 2nd pick. They'll get that Ace Bailey guy from Rutgers, and then they're going to they'll get some first-round picks, future first-round picks. It'll possibly even be 3-4 picks, future first-rounders, maybe a 2nd-rounder. And I guarantee you'll see 2 guys in that trade package, or 3. Possibly. You're going to see a very big trade package deal for Giannis. And I think if you're the Bucks, you got to figure, okay, Giannis is coming on the back end. He's going to be 30. He's got some miles on those legs. Yes, he's a good player, but we need to build another foundation of players. Is it possibility that we could put this package deal, get Giannis? Let's get something for him now, not wait. And here's the thing, Damian Lillard tore his Achilles, which is another guy I forgot about. Sad to see him also with a torn Achilles. So he got out, I think, in the first round of the playoffs. So he'll be out a year too. He won't play next year. I'm wondering if the Bucks are willing to shop him around. Now, maybe they can't do it now, But maybe when the Achilles starts to heal and he's in that rehabilitation phase, he's doing the warm up shots. I'm sure they'll do the the little thing behind the scene where he's hooping and stuff and balling against street guys, and they'll say, "See, he's ready to go. He's ready to go. He's ready to go." And then they'll say, "Okay, are there any takers? And what is your offer?" And of course, it's not about what Damian Lillard is worth. It's about who has the best offer. And so, of course, you're going to sit, if you're Milwaukee, and wait to see exactly what your offers are. You take the best offer. And that's how it works. That's how, when the deals come, it's there's going to be some biters. You'll possibly see 3 or 4 teams that are willing to have some trade packages. There'll be a little competition. They'll wait, well, wait a minute, hold on, we'll throw this and this in. And then the other guy, they'll adjust theirs, and you'll kind of look through the options, and then you kind of wait out and see which one is best for you. If you're the Bucks, you're not really in a hurry to trade Giannis, but I can guarantee you come draft day, San Antonio is coming and knocking, and they're going to throw them a really big package offer. And I'm anticipating it's going to be blowing through SportsCenter with Giannis Antetokounmpo. And another reason why they have to do this is because with these players tearing their Achilles, big star players, might I add, you're looking at quality of basketball going down. So you have to sell something. You got to sell these trades. It's all you can do is sell these trades with big stars in these deals, like you did with Durant, Game 7. And you're going to do in the draft day with Giannis. Giannis will be a Spur. Guarantee it. And he will be playing alongside with Wemba. And guess who will resign? Chris Paul. Chris Paul has a good relationship with Greg Pop. So Greg Pop will say, okay, come on and re-sign with me. Let's go ahead and get this deal done. You'll still have Castle. You'll still have Jeremy Sokan, which is, he's kind of trying to do that Dennis Rodman, Detroit Pistons gimmick with the fucked up hair colors, rainbow hair colors. I don't have a problem with the kick and hoop, so I don't have a problem with that. So you could throw that in, and the Spurs are willing to trade that second pick plus future first-round draft picks and maybe some players. Then I could see them jumping on that, absolutely. And Giannis will be a Spur. So it'll be him, Wemba. It'll be Chris Paul, Castle. Sokan. That's gonna be a damn threatening team. And Greg Pop is the general manager. So his role as a coach is he's now behind the scenes trying to orchestrate, facilitate moves. To me, it seems like a better role for him than as his head coach. You bring in somebody else, a head coach, and put him right there, like somebody in the organization. So to me, I think Greg Pop is on the right track. I know people don't like him for his leftist views, but he's a great basketball IQ, and he has great morale, and people want to play for him. And I think he would be that guy that will attract a guy like Giannis to get there. So he could sell, hey, you got another big center with you, take the load off of you. We got you some guards, we got you a small forward, we got you a bench, so work with, I think it's a sell. And I don't think any other teams are going to jump on Giannis unless, they're giving up a top 5 pick in the draft. But to me, San Antonio is in the best broker position to do so. So I predict he'll be a Spur. Trey Johnson, I'm a Longhorns fan. That's the only guy in the draft I know that's coming from UT. I predict I think he'll go to Utah at 5. That's where I predict he's going. So Utah will have another guard, so he gets to play with Larry Markkinen, I guess. Kind of feel bad for Utah because they have one of the worst records, yet they're 5 in the draft, which sometimes kind of makes you wonder if the NBA is kind of rigged because the way their draft set up, it looks like it's kind of rigged. Like Wizards and Jazz have the worst records, but then they're like, top 5 and 6 pick? It's like weird. I know they have the draft lottery, but I think the whole thing's weird how they do it. And it's like, but I guess it makes sense. Dallas got the number 1 pick. I don't think they should have gotten it. I think Cooper Flag should have been with the Jazz. And maybe with the second pick would have been Washington, and they could have traded for Giannis. But I don't know if Giannis wants to play for Washington. They couldn't sell that. But San Antonio and Dallas, they can sell those two, making big splashes in the league. So Dallas now, Cooper Flag, Clay, AD, Kyrie. So now Kyrie, you don't have to come back till December or January. So go ahead and takes that pressure off Kyrie to have to rehab off that ACL tear. So go ahead and rest for that till December or January. So you're going to have AD. What is that going to do? Limit his role on the court. More reduced minutes. You got Cooper Flag on the court. He's a stretch 4 guy. So Cooper Flag will be at the power forward position. That helps alleviate that AD duel with him. AD don't have to have as many touches. And then you still have Clay outside perimeter shooting, who can still hoop and shoot the ball. You're still going to have Lively coming off the bench. The Lively's good too. You still got Marshall off the bench. So Dallas will be in a good poker position right now to have 4 megastars. Kyrie, Cooper, AD, Clay. You got 4 right there. Dallas is going to be fucking nasty in the upcoming season, you know. And then this Cooper Flag pick helps out all the other players, and they all benefit from this. So San Antonio, if you're smart, you got the number 2 pick, throw the house and get Giannis over there and become that team you once were in the early 2000s and the late 90s. Well, really early 2000s. So and you could bring back that strength again, man. You know? So you might be seeing possibility is a free agent target for the Mavs. Possibility. But I think if CP3 sees Giannis going over there, he'll re-sign with the Spurs. That's what I predict. I think he's kind of waiting to see what moves the Spurs are going to make. I think if Spurs lay in Giannis, he'll re-sign with the Spurs. I think Greg Pop will get him on a 1-year, 2-year rental. 1-year rental, perhaps. And so that's going to be a damn good duel. So you're going to look at the Rockets, the Mavs, and the Spurs, the triple threat in Texas. All 3 of these teams being a possible. I don't want to say super teams. I'll say Dallas will be a super team. San Antonio will be borderline super team. And then the Rockets will be like a third tier with just a mega star there. Durant, you bring in James Harden. So you got those 2 there, and boom. And then you got all the other role players that are stepping in on their mark. You got Seguin, who's the next and upcoming Hakeem Olajuwon. Got the best footwork in the league. I don't care what anyone says. And you build that up. So you got 3 good teams coming out of Texas that are all playoff bound next year. That's going to be nasty. You know? Phoenix Suns who the top starting 5 for the Suns. There's a draft pick they have from Kentucky in 2020 who is their starting center, which obviously they'll still have Bobo off the bench, Mason Plumlee, and they'll still have Kendall Richards or whatever his name is, I think, from Kentucky. They'll have to figure out who they're going to start at center, or if not, they're probably going to have to try to bring somebody over there. But you'll have D. Brooks, you got Bradley Beal, you got Booker, and then you got Jalen Green. So you'll have that potentially be your starting 5. So they'll just be missing the center. The Suns need a center. They get a center in the offseason, they could have a decent squad right there. And the Rockets, if they can land Harden, it'll sort of average out that 2-guard position we're really missing at. Because I'm not convinced Reed Shepherd should be a starter. And I don't know if I want Amin Thompson at the 2-guard. I prefer him at 3. And then Jabari Smith can't play the 2, so he'd have to move to the 3, and then move Amin Thompson to the 2. But honestly, I'd rather have Harden come in at the 2 and keep Amin Thompson at 3, and bring Jabari Smith off the second unit with Reed Shepherd. And Torrey Eason. So I wouldn't have a problem with that second unit right there, and Steven Adams, and have that second unit core guys come in. So, like I said, there's still a lot of moves to be made with the draft and everything. The best center in the draft right now is from Maryland. I think his name is Rail Queens or something like that. Best center in the draft, projected to go 10. If the Suns land at 10, they got the 10th pick from that trade from us, they can go ahead and land that center right there. But he ain't going to start right away, so he'll still have to be acclimated in the offense or whatever. So, the Suns would be projected to have to draft that center from Maryland if he lands that low to 10. Yeah, absolutely. Well, NBA season starts. Well, the draft is tomorrow. No, it's in 2 days. It's tomorrow in 2 days. I think it's on Thursday. So we're gonna see if Giannis comes there. Watch for breaking news. Thursday. Giannis Antetokounmpo traded to San Antonio in a package deal, and Milwaukee gets blah, 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 2 players and draft picks. Watch. You all be coming to me in the comment section here, be like, man, Rose, you called it. I've been calling this shit since April. I said Giannis will be a San Antonio Spur. And it's going to happen. Dallas and San Antonio are in the best poker positions in the draft. And everybody else after that is a distant second. Just it's a crapshoot in a bucket. Whoever you draft, hopefully they're good. And, you know, the Suns, if they get that center at 10, you can maybe even throw them in the mix of getting somebody decent. And it's just, you know, everything else it's just crabs in a bucket. We'll see if they're good or not. And that's pretty much it. But Dallas, San Antonio at 1 and 2 are in the best poker position. The NBA draft, I'd be watching for those 2 picks, especially San Antonio at number 2, and you're going to be seeing what they're about to do. I'm telling you, Giannis will be a Spur. I'm calling it now. Giannis will be in San Antonio. This is going to be a fun NBA draft. And I'm never usually excited for the NBA draft. I usually don't give a shit. Because usually all the big trades happen. When do the big trades happen? They usually happen during the regular season, right before the All-Star break. Now the NBA is like, we got to get this thing jolting to the following year. LeBron's leaving LA. They already informed him that they're moving on from him. What is the asking price? 7 first-round draft picks. Who lands LeBron? I thought maybe Dallas would jump on it, but I don't think they got the assets to do so. Miami, possibly, but why would you rehash a LeBron there? It's not like Wade and Bosh are going there. The only place that seems feasible for LeBron is Golden State. That's the only place that, to me, seems like he has to go. If he wants to stay in California but wants to be with a good team, and maybe the Clippers could jump on it if they could convince James Harden to stay. That would screw us, but it would help the Clippers. But the thing is do the Clippers have 7 first-round draft picks to give? To me, I think LeBron would want to go somewhere where it's almost guaranteed he's going to win at this stage of his career, at almost 41. Would you buy a Kevin Durant jersey? Probably. I need to buy a Seguin one, and I need to buy a Thompson jersey, or maybe Fred VanVleet, buy a Fleet jersey, you know. But I think if LeBron was smart, he would go to Golden State. I know it seems like oh, you're jumping on the Warriors bandwagon. It's like, no, but it seems like to me, if you're trying to sell a last hoorah, Curry gets a 5th ring, LeBron gets his 5th ring, Dre gets a 5th ring, Butler gets his 1st ring. To me, it would make more sense to probably put LeBron in Golden State and let Golden State trade those draft picks. They may have to even give up some players like Podzinski. They would probably have to give up Looney, maybe a couple other players in that deal, but I could see LA just saying, you know what, we'll take a gamble on this. We'll give you those picks, and we'll give you LeBron, but this is what we want in return. And I could see Golden State giving up two or three players plus the draft picks. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's going to be one hell of a season. Interesting offseason this year. Even Cleveland would be a decent fit since they really... Yeah, Cleveland would be a decent fit for LeBron. What he want to do is maybe a retirement tour there. It seems like LeBron ain't going to retire anytime soon. Is he going to be in the league another 4 or 5 years? It seems like it to me. If LeBron's going to play till he's 45 and he's going to be 41 in December, it means he's got 5 years. He could spend 2 in Golden State and maybe spend 2 in Cleveland or 3 in Cleveland. It's like buying an NBA. You buy the NBA 2K and then LeBron's on there, and it's like age 43, and he's like in the starting, and you can still like hoop with him and stuff. And I'm like, man, that's kind of cool, man. I remember when I first played like NBA 2K5 and he was on there, and it's like now it's 2K28, 29, and LeBron's still on the game. It's like that's kind of cool, man. You know. So LeBron will be here next year. Obviously, you know he's going to be here next. You know he's going to be playing next year. So that'll be year 23 for LeBron. Now he ties Vince Carter for the longest reigning season amongst players. Knowing LeBron, he's probably not going to want to stop there. I'm predicting LeBron will be at least 25 years in the league. Minimum. Minimum. If the guy's still healthy, he'll still play, I think 25 years. I think you'll see LeBron 25 years in the fucking league. Can you believe that shit? I think he just wants, I think at this point, even if LeBron, hypothetically, he's got one ring left in him or no rings left, I think he gives, say, the coolest flex would be is if LeBron says, I'm 40 fucking 7 and I'm still hooping. Like, I'm still in good shape. I'm still keeping up with these youngsters and they can't keep up with me and I'm still dropping 30. Imagine the headlines would be on his legacy to add to that. Not even chasing the GOAT or Jordan, just cementing his own name and saying he's 47, 48 and flexing and still in the league and still starting and still fucking hooping. Bro, stop. I mean, how many people can say that they can hoop past 30, let alone at 40 or 45, 47, 49, LeBron James? Dude, that I think it's a stretch, but imagine selling that. Imagine selling LeBron James at 40 fucking 5, 46, 47, 48, and fucking nasty, just still dunking, still hooping, still shooting threes, playing defense, getting stops. He's probably approaching 70,000 NBA career points. Man, that's like a goddamn video game. It's like when you create a player and set the skill to 100, and he's still that way throughout the course of his life. I mean, just the coolest flex to me is LeBron still hooping at his age. Like, even if he never wins another ring, he's going to be 41 in December, and this dude is still fucking hooping. It's fucking crazy. You know, I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm a big LeBron hater or a fan, but I respect the guy because he's still in good shape, eats healthy, can still play, doesn't really get injured too much. The dude is just nasty, man. Even though he's only got 4 rings, I could understand him wanting to get 5 just to get that monkey off his back. Let's go ahead and get that 5th ring. But man, if LeBron plays till even LeBron plays till 44, 45. Imagine the flex that he has on the NBA just to know that he can still start at 41 years old and still know he's starting and he's still on the court. Guys are 20 years old, 25, and he's just still fucking scoring, still keeping up with them, still not even affecting him, bro. Now, maybe is he as fast as he used to be? No. But the dude still got it, man. He still got it at his age, and got to give him respect for that because there are dudes that are 28, 27 can't even fucking hoop. And this guy's here fucking 41 and fucking just nasty. You know what I mean? All right, guys. Well, I gotta go because I got to use the restroom. I've been holding this shit in. I haven't been trying to do this video for a while, but I did. But if LeBron, probably not 50, but 45 or 47. LeBron, man, if he plays till he's 40 fucking 5, bro, that's fucking nasty. I've been saying every year LeBron still got 5 years in him. I'm going to say right now LeBron got like 3 to 5. 3 to 5 easily. As long as he don't pull his Achilles. Or has an ACL tear, MCL tear, none of that shit. LeBron still got another 5, bro. Every year, I'm still saying he got 5 years. When he was 35, I'm like, he got 5. Now he's 40, he got 5. When he's 45, I'm going to say he got 3. When he's 49, I'm going to say he got 2. I mean, I was like, damn, the clock never ticks for him. I mean, it will. But it ain't letting loose now. And you got to respect that, man. I mean, just like Tom Brady, I didn't like that motherfucker. He beat us all the time in the playoffs. And he always beat us in the regular season. But I got to give Brady his props. He played till he was, like, 44. He could have played more if it wasn't for his damn wife, ex-wife, or whatever she is. I think after all that bullshit she did, he should have still played. He would be like 48 right now, still playing in the league. Huh. All right, man. Well, I got to go, man. I'm going to holler at y'all. I got to use the restroom. I've been holding this shit in right now, and it's like really fucking getting into me, man. I'm going to holler at y'all. This is a good basketball video, by the way. I'm going to save this one. I'm not going to put it to private. Don't worry.